to the Black Feather Intuitive and welcome to Divinely Decked Tarot and Oracle Reviews done Stacey style. And today I'm so excited to be doing a VR tag, tarot tag, called Let's Go Shopping. And this is a nod to Cedar Moon Witch and Mystic Mand. And I saw this video and thought it was just the cutest thing ever. I'm all about a good theme. And it's all a theme, the different places that we go when we go shopping. And so I'm really excited to share this stuff with you. And I wanted to keep it short. I'm going to do my best. Brevity is not always my strong suit. But for a lot of these categories, I just could not only pick one. Some of them I did, but most of them I've got 2 decks, and I could have had 10 in there, but I'm trying to keep it real. So the first one that we are tapping into is, we go shopping. I'm going to go to the bakery first. We're going to the bakery, and we are looking for a deck that is warm, cozy, and familiar. And so I've got 2 decks under this category. Both, ironically, are Oracle decks and not tarot decks. The first one is the Wisdom of the Hidden Realms Oracle cards. This card deck has been with me, I want to say, for at least 10 years, if not longer than that. This is one of the very first Oracle decks that I got when I started to open up to my gifts and all of this kind of stuff. I'd had tarot and Oracle decks beforehand, but didn't really know what I was doing with them, didn't understand them. This was one of the decks that really helped me to find my voice, to really tap into my intuition and to develop some self-confidence in my reading. So it is a Hay House book from Colette Baron Reid. You can see that the box is a little roughed up, so it's definitely seen some love. This has gone on multiple planes with me over the years. It's a nice solid book. Of course, it comes with, your traditional guidebook. It is a similar, it's that Hay House cardstock. So I want to say Hay House kind of like put tarot and Oracle on the map. So I want to say this is like like Hay House created the standard Oracle size. And that's what this is. It's shiny, which I'm not a fan of. You can see that the book has sweat stains. Not that I would ever give this book away. I can't imagine a reason that I would. But it has, sweat stains from my thumbs from using it all the time. This is definitely a guidebook that I have used and used and used and used again. So let's just kind of take a peek. Decent card quality. It is not gilded. And we'll just take a pick here. We've got the Spirit Whisper, Divine Guidance, Higher Knowing. I also always am drawn to the numbers in these decks. So the number 3. This deck just speaks to me. Whenever I am struggling with something and I really just need to get to the heart of it, I come to this deck because this deck gives me that clear, direct guidance. Like this, the Metal King, discipline, armor, and boundaries. No matter what the question is, clearly, this is going to let me know either I need to exude a little more discipline. Maybe I need to pay attention to my armor. Am I wearing armor when I don't need to be? Do I need to put the armor on? And then boundaries. Where am I, waffling on that? Or where do I need to, sort of reflect on the boundaries that I have? Are they serving my purpose? The Hungry Ghosts, Obsessions, Scarcity Consciousness, Attachment. That number 14. There's a lot of fairies in this deck. Here we have, this is always one that I pull. The Lady of the Mirror, Reflection and Non-Judgment. So it's definitely got kind of a fairy energy, a fae energy, the Arrow Master, Hitting the Mark, Intention and Detachment. I'm going to try and move this so that we can get it without a reflection in the image. We'll see how that goes. Hitting the Mark, Intention and Detachment. So it's very, very clear, very direct. Here we have the Keeper of the Scales, Fairness, Balance. She's beautiful. She's sitting in a wheat field. And it's the imagery is simple. It's bordered, but the border is part of the imagery, which I like. This is one that I get all the time. And I always say, this is the title deck. And I always say that's Colette Baron Reid herself. She is a Leo, so it doesn't surprise me at all that she would sort of feature herself a little bit in her decks, and rightfully so. She's the magician, right? She's the alchemist. the altar priestess, preparation, prayer, and sacred ritual. And she has taught so many of us how to be in prayer and sacred ritual. The High Lady of love and compassion, reverence, kindness, consideration. The Lady of the Gift. This is beautiful. Generosity, receiving, withholding. The Shadow Queen, acquiring knowledge, insecurity, manipulation. Oh, and I get this one a lot too. The Spiral Dancer, circuitous route, perception, a number 5. So this deck, it's definitely, I would call old school now. There are a lot of other, oracle decks that, that I'm open to their imagery a little bit more and drawn to it. But this deck has my heart. We have been through some shit, and we will continue to go through whatever it is that I got going on in my life. And I can trust this deck. So this is warm and cozy. This is definitely a deck that I get what I need, but I don't feel like it's delivered in a harsh way. And I really feel loved, held, and supported. The second one for this is, I could have picked a number, but it's the Kuan Yin Oracle. And I have had this deck. Ironically, I actually had an original edition copy and I gave it away to a friend thinking that I was done with the deck. I had written all sorts of things in the guidebook, penciled in my notes. This was a deck that when I first connected with all of this, I was still in the mode of trying to memorize everything. And so I had sticky notes and I wrote little notes and was trying to memorize the cards. And when I had to kind of let all of that go, I thought that I had to let the card deck go. And as soon as I gave it away, my heart hurt and I bought another copy. And it's not as good of a quality. Like the cardstock is definitely different. There are parts of me that have a little bit of remorse, a little bit of regret at giving it away. But, I gave it away to a good person. So, and I'm sure they are, still loving it and making use of it. This is an Alana Fairchild. So it is a Blue Angel Oracle deck. And Blue Angel is always incredible. The guidebook is super helpful. The imagery is just gorgeous. So it's not color, but they do have a black and white image of each of the pictures. And with Alana Fairchild, she writes a novel for each of the cards, which I really love. And she always includes a meditation and a healing practice to really, I want to say, integrate the messages of the deck. So yeah, this has been with me for a really long time. This deck is my second version of it, but we still have some love. We definitely have some love. It is not reversible. We have this beautiful image of Kuan Yin, just sitting up. So it's not reversible, but it is an oracle deck. It does have that sheen. I wish it was a little more on that rose petal finish, but again, this is a little old school. So let's just take a look at the images here to the Celestial Moon 41. I mean, look at her. She's gorgeous. The colors in these cards are breathtaking. It is boundaried, it's bordered. But again, the border almost blends in, like each of the borders is a different color. So it blends in. It's part of the imagery. Dance of the Butterfly Queen. OMG. Like, they're just breathtaking images. All of the butterflies, the attention to detail in the imagery. This card kind of it's like it has my heart. This card speaks to me in a lot of ways. Princess of the Autumn Harvest. Now, this is a card that I have seen other readers reading intuitively with it. And like, all the more power to you. I totally support everybody reading intuitively. I do it with most of my decks. This is one of those ones that I don't read intuitively. I enjoy the imagery and then I go to the book because I absolutely love Alana Fairchild's approach to life. The channeled messages that she receives really speak to me. So I see it as a, sort of an oracle study. And this is a deck that I use just for me. I don't use it for anyone else. I use it just for me. Blossoms of the Sky Dancer. And it's a gentler deck as well. It does, when you read the messaging, it does give you, direct messaging and information. You finish the reading knowing full well where things are at and what you need to do. Reveal the Peacock Beauty. But it gives the information to you in a gentle, loving way. I mean, just the beauty of it is incredible. Bamboo Moon. The Yin Empress. Oh, Just gorgeous. Gates of Heaven. This is one of the few, I think it might be the only one, or maybe one of 2 decks that doesn't have a person in it. Veil of Shadows. So yes, this is definitely warm and cozy, friendly, familiar, just makes me happy, makes me feel really, really good. Okay, so now we've picked up our bread for the day. Now we're going to the sweet shop, the candy shop. So this is a deck with bright colors. It's sweet and it's fun. And I have 2 decks. I could have had several decks, and it was really hard for me to kind of choose, but I decided to do 1 tarot and 1 oracle. So we'll start with the Under the Oak Tarot. If you've been following me for a while, you know that this is a fairly new deck to me, but it's been featured in a lot of my videos just because I absolutely love it. It's a bit on the whimsical side. It's a Lo Scarabeo. I love the heroine in it. It's like she's a younger child. It's like she's in a dream, but not always. So sometimes she's blindfolded, sometimes she's not. And it just gives really great messaging and information. It does come with a guidebook. I've used the guidebook from time to time. Again, it's a Lo Scarabeo, so it's in multiple different languages, so it looks bigger than it actually is. But again, the pictures are so descriptive that I don't really feel like you need the deck guidebook. But every once in a while, if you do want something a little bit deeper, you want to understand how the artist was, connecting and what their thought process was in making it, by all means. It is beautifully gilded in silver. It's not exactly reversible, but it's kind of reversible. I love the coloring. I love the crystals and all of the, we've got the wands, the cups, the crystals. There's just everything here. The stone. Here we have the Fool card, and the colors are just so warm and inviting. They're bright. It is like candy. When I look at this Fool card, I'm excited. It's sweet. It's like sucking on a cherry red Jolly Rancher. It's exciting. It's like that pop of color. It makes you excited for the journey. Here we have the 7 of Wands. So, this is typically a card of defense. She's going into the forest, and there's a big bad wolf or a bear or something waiting in the trees. But she does have her lights around her. She has her fairy orbs and her protection around her at all times. Here we have the 3 of Wands. And so because this is sort of a nighttime deck, there are a lot of these nighttime images, and the colors that are used pop out of that nighttime energy. And so this is a card of expansion, and we're seeing her here using her imagination. She's conjuring things. She's playing with her power and having fun with it. Here we have the 10 of Swords. So this typically is kind of a more violent, depiction. But here it's not violent at all. It's more that she is taking off the blindfold and she's seeing things that can't be unseen. And I think that's an important part of everything. I'm just going to show you some colored stuff. Here's a 6 of Wands deck. So again, we're seeing those really beautiful pops of color coming up. 4 of Wands. And so she's not in this image, but we have her fur friends that are in here as well. Perhaps they're preparing for the celebration. Here's the Hermit card. Queen of Pentacles. She's really cool. She actually looks more like a Queen of Wands energy than Queen of Pentacles. Very different depiction than what you would sort of expect or anticipate. Here's the 10 of Pentacles. Very much that green energy. 4 of Cups. We'll just pull a couple more here. The Magician. This is always a really cool one. It's almost like fall colors. The World. She's super happy. There's 2 of Wands. Oh, this is one of my favorites. So it's like, I have a decision to make, my favorite grizzly bear, and I want to go see the Aurora Borealis, and I want to do this, but I'm a little bit afraid. Would you go with me? And he goes, yeah, I'll take you. I'll hold your hand. I love it. 2 of Pentacles. Here she's blindfolded and she's holding a little creature in her hand for support. Here's the Devil card. So even the devil that's a little on the gray side and darker has a lot of those pops of color. So this is definitely, I would say, a sweet card. Even the darker cards are delivered in a very palatable way under the Oak Tarot. And this one is my Oracle pick, and I absolutely love this. This is Blue Angel, the Foxfire Kitsune Oracle, Lucy Cavendish. And I have to tell you, I've had this for a few years now. I just fell in love with it. I happened to see it in kind of a random, was in my feed. I think it was in my Amazon feed. And I was like, how is it that I have not seen this before? It's a 2018. I don't think I bought it in 2018. Actually, I know I didn't buy it in 2018. I was in my other house, so I probably bought it in 2020. But I absolutely love it. So first of all, like, you just see the colors. They're warm, they're inviting. You learn about what Foxfire is. It's got an Asian feel to it. They give you a couple of spreads. This is really cool. They don't give you just like a boxed sketch. They give you a full-on sketch of the card itself. So it's almost like you even get to see more on the card, or a particular area of the card that's blown up. So I think that's really cool as well. So even though it's black and white, there's a little something extra about it. And I love what she writes. I want to say it's just enough. It's just right. It's not too short and not too long. And it really drives the point home. So loving the size. It is a larger, sort of oracle deck size, very much that Blue Angel energy. We have the foxes on either side, so it's reversible. It is on a matte finish, not quite a rose petal finish, but definitely matte. And let's take a look at these cards. The Bringer of Change. So I love the colors. Even when the messages are difficult to receive, they're a lot easier to receive in this way. A Time to Walk Alone. Beneath the Surface. So they do have a little bit of a fairy kind of energy, a fantasy type energy. It's simple. There are a couple of images in here. There's one that's my absolute freaking favorite. I think it's maybe one of my favorite images of all time across all decks. We'll see if it comes up in this. That is a little busier. But for the most part, it's very focused. The images are very focused. Time to Restore. You have this beautiful dragon that's resting, sleeping. Empowerment. Beautiful. The use of peach in this deck, the color peach, is always impressive to me. To Dance with Joy. Call Forth the Waves. I'm going to see if I can find that other one. The Sentinel. Make a Wish. Oh, this one's beautiful. Find a Place to Withdraw to. She reminds me of an actress that I've seen a number of times in a number of different TV shows. I don't know that she's an actress that has necessarily made it big, but she's definitely an actress whose face I recognize. Watch and Listen Carefully. Beauty of Age. Oh, this one's pretty. Grace. Acceptance. The Richness Within. That's a beautiful card. Fleeting Beauty. Born with a Gift. Shadow Dancer. Oh, here it is. Threshold. This is like just such a stunning card. This card just makes me so happy. All of the blends of the colors. It's very phoenixy, which of course is very me. All the purples. She's gorgeous. There are butterflies in it. There's just so much that's happening in this card, but it just all makes sense. You're at the threshold. What will you do? So yes, this is a sweet deck, bright colors, definitely candy for me. And also, I want to say candy that's healthy. Candy that gives me the goods, as they say. And now we are off to the flower shop. And we're going to look for a green or an herbal deck. So because I've done, quite a few of these reviews now, I have two very prominent green decks. One is the Spirit Song Tarot, and the other one is my Crafty Creations Tarot. And I've featured them a lot, so I decided to branch out. And this one definitely makes me think of green. I don't have the box for this, but this is the Russian Tarot of St. Petersburg. It is a US Games. And what you're seeing on the back of the card here, where you're seeing all of the, oops, sorry, let me move that. Again, it's a shinier deck. It's a US Games deck, so the same size, card size as a traditional US Games deck. It's got a lot of the green. It's bordered in green. You've got all these green vines, and the rest of the colors just sort of kind of blend in with that. So I decided to go with this. So, you know, US Games cardstock, nothing too fancy. I think I've got it reversed here. Let's just take a peek. So here we have the moon. And as you can see, it's bordered in this beautiful viney green. We have an actual border, and then in the oval shape is the image of the card. So definitely every card has this green hue to it. So no matter what the card messaging is, you're looking at green. Here we have the Chariot. And I feel like all the colors really kind of pop with that green, because it's not like a super bright green. It's almost like a moss green. So then any of the colors that you put with it, the colors stand out. There's King of Swords, Page of Swords. Here's the Devil. Here's the Fool. And I know this is a US Games, but it also kind of has a little bit of that Lo Scarabeo, Ciro Marchetti, I want to say almost like an Italian style to it. I hope I'm not offending anybody by saying that. Two of Cups. I have Russian blood back in my ancestry. So I do appreciate a lot of that stuff. But it has I mean, it feels Russian, but it also has some of that Italian influence in it. So that's the one that we picked up at the flower shop. And our next prompt is the pet shop. Yay! So we have an animal or nature-based deck. And I have several animal decks that I really enjoy, but the one that I decided to choose for you guys today is the Animal Dreaming cards, because this is actually written by an Australian it's also a Blue Angel publishing, and Blue Angel is in Australia. And what I absolutely adore about this deck is that they have animals that I don't always know what that is, because it's an animal that is in a different part of the world. And so it helps me to really kind of expand and broaden out, my horizons. And I always find this is a deck that I like to read about. I like to read the messages and read them in full, because I find it always fascinating. It's something new. I know by now what a butterfly means. I know by now what the cardinal means. I know by now what the tiger means, because I've looked it up so much. But when it comes with like a bibbity bobbity boop name, I'm like, I have no idea what that is. Like, I don't even know if that's a bird or an animal or a fish. So you got to learn into it. And I find that it just really expands my horizons. So, of course, that Blue Angel deck, this is an older deck too. I want to say maybe 2015, 2016. We can find out here. It's by Scott Alexander King. Let's just see when this was actually printed. Oh, 2007. So even older than that. I haven't had it since 2007. I got this probably in 2014 or 2015. But it's really cool. We have the table of contents. I like the font. They don't do color, but they definitely do a black and white of each of the birds. So here, like for example, lyrebird. I don't know what a lyrebird is. Genetic memory. Ooh, now that is a message I want to know. There's a butterfly transformation, but they've got a lot of ones that I don't know. Bilby. What's a bilby? So I have to look it up, right? It's a marmoset of some kind. Bat, rebirth, cockatoo. Okay, so some of these you do know, but when you look at them, couscous, when you look at them, you're like, okay, we don't have cassowary. We don't have a lot of these, here in North America. So I like that. I just really like that. So let's take a look. It is that Blue Angel style, old school style of Oracle deck. They're big. They're big sized cards. They're thinner, on the thinner side. It's not gilded. But it is somewhat reversible if you don't pay too much attention to the triangle in the center. I love the coloring here. We've got a little bit of yellow, a little bit of gold. We've got a little bit of red, a little bit of the brown. So it's very earthy, very kind of deserty. I want to say outback. Here, for example, we have 36 is the dingo, the trickster. And of course, here in North America, we hear the word dingo and the dingo ate your baby or ate my baby. We always go there. We go to all the, I want to say all the cliches, but here is a real dingo and it looks like a dog to me. So of course I'm like, yay, I want to know about that. Platypus, women's wisdom. I love that it also has these sigils in the corner of the deck. Possum, opportunity. The bustard, confidence. I believe that we have bustards here too. We just don't call them that. Here is a beautiful sigil. And they also have this is like the suit. So they have different symbols to represent the suit. Here is the whale, the record keeper. Here's the raven, magic. Well, we know what a dolphin is. We know what a horse is. We know what a turtle is. Okay, so that pile we know. Here's cassowary, respect. Looks like a turkey, with the little, I don't know what they are, little throat thingies. Magpie, we have magpies, balance. Thylacine, wisdom. This looks very ancient, like an ancient coyote or something. We have emus for endurance. Here's a couscous, calmness, super cute. Here's a gray kangaroo for abundance. Frogmouth, secret keeper. He looks interesting. He's like the combination of like an owl and maybe like an eagle. This is a porcupine, but it says echidna, personal protection. So yeah, I just love the difference of it. And, you can see the borders, again, are a part of the imagery. So you're almost seeing like the landscape or the environment that they exist in. The frog mouth here. You're just seeing a lot of different coloring. So yeah, that's what I've chosen for our flower or pet shop. I almost said flower shop. There's nothing flowery about this, but definitely the pet shop. So I thought that was a really cool deck to share with you guys. All right, our next prompt is the antique shop, a deck I have the most history with. Okay, this was hard. This was really hard. So I went with two different choices. So I had like 5 decks and I'm like, okay, Stacy, don't be ridiculous. Like you have to figure it out. So one of the decks that I was going to share with you was my Ciro Marchetti Tarot of Dreams, because that is the deck that I want to say I worked with the longest with clients. Like I used it for 3 years before semi-retiring it. Prior to that, I worked with the Osho Zen deck that I have since retired. But all through that, I realized like once I'm done with a deck, I'm done with it. And I'm done with those decks, for the most part. Every once in a while, I'll pull them out, mostly for, readings for followers, but I don't use them for myself. So when we talk about like a deck that has history, I was like, what's one of the decks that I've been working with the longest that no matter what happens, I never retire it? And that is the Shadowscapes Tarot here from Barbara Moore and Stephanie Puila, I think is her name. And forgive me, she's an amazing, incredible artist. I just need to figure out what the Farker name is, period, end of story. So it's a US Games deck. This has seen some love, some anger, some rage. It's seen a lot of different things. And we always come out on the other side feeling closer than ever before. And so first of all, it's purple, which is always a happy place for me. It's that US Games cardstock. It's, I definitely think it could be on better quality cardstock, but hey, it is what it is. Here's the Lovers. This has been around for a long time. This was also one of the very first decks that I bought when I finally recognized, oh, I'm a psychic and the sky isn't going to come crashing down on me, and the ground is not going to open up and swallow me whole because I'm reading tarot. This is a tool that I can use for accessing my intuition. And this was the deck that, once I was really buying, I think this was like my third tarot deck that I bought. The first one was the actual Rider-Waite-Smith tarot, and the second one was the Osho Zen. This was my third. So I was already kind of branching out. Eight of Pentacles, Ace of Cups, lovingness. The imagery is gentle. The artistry is great. You can really read into the energy of the story of the card, Knight of Wands. It does follow the Rider-Waite-Smith. So if you're learning Rider-Waite, which I was at the time, if you're learning the system of tarot, this is definitely something easier to follow with the imagery, but you also get something a little bit different. I love that it's, whimsical, fairy-like, but also like, especially in this card, and there are a few that are like this, it's almost like a winter wonderland energy. And then you get other ones that are, cross-sectioned with like tons of forestry. So the colors are really beautiful. Nine of Swords, like this card speaks to me. This card taught me what Nine of Swords actually really means. We have been through some interesting stuff, this deck and I. Here's the Justice card. Seven of Swords, it's a beautiful representation of the Seven of Swords. Eight of Cups, the Magician. This is one of my favorite world cards of all time. Beautiful. Two of Swords, also a beautiful Two of Swords. Here's the Tower. This Tower makes a lot of sense to me. Six of Swords, this is probably my favorite Six of Swords card of all time. Five of Swords. So this deck and I have been through it. This deck has been through my marriage, like my wedding, and then my marriage, and then all the things in between, and my divorce, and my relationship after my marriage, and then my breakup, and then COVID, on and on and on and on. And this deck definitely has been a support and a guiding light. The second one, I feel a little bit awkward bringing it up, but when it asks the question about history, I'm showing this because this was this is my own personal oracle deck that I created. I created this in 2018, I think, 2018 or 2019, right after my divorce. This was like before Kickstarter was like a big thing with tarot and oracle, and I just didn't have a lot of money. I didn't know what was what. I had talked to a bunch of publishers, and there were a few bites, but nobody actually like followed through. And so in true Stacey style, I was like, I have this idea. I really feel like I need to put it out there. So I went with a private printer and just decided to do like a small limited edition 200 deck run and just sort of see what happened. And it was a great experience to learn how to like create your own deck. I had to pick the paper and whatever. And it was the first time. And I'm so glad I went through it because like now I've got a partner and we are in the process of creating a bunch of decks. And it's so helpful to have that experience now because I know like all the things that I wished I could have done with this deck, I now have that ability to do, but I just didn't have the money. I didn't have the investment resource at the time. It was just unreal. So when you're talking about history, I thought, well, this would be a good kind of history story because it's been around for a while. I channeled it. I birthed it. I was so happy to birth it. So it comes with an oracle deck. It is in black and white. It's very me. I chose like white paper instead of off-white paper because I like that. I prefer that. Each card is, numbered. Each card has its own affirmation, its own keyword. I do like divine direction. So I channeled a message for each card. Then I do a teachable experience. And then I do just kind of like the today. What can I do today? It was a learning experience. It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of work. And I'll tell you that when when I was holding it in my hot little hands for the first time, it was such an incredible experience. I liked the idea of really square cards, and I stole that from the what is it called? The Wisdom of the House of Night deck, which is Colette Baron Reed and someone Knox, I think. Sorry, I forget the other person's name. PG something. And they're square. And so I thought, okay, well, I'm going to do square. The paper quality is not so great. I would definitely do that differently, but it's not bad. I did pretty well. Each of the cards, I tried to make it where if you do read reversals, you can sort of read it as a reversal, but it's not technically a reversal. And then let's just kind of take a peek. So here's our 33, interact, elevate, communicate, and receive. And so because this is the Feathers of Wisdom Oracle, sorry, I forgot to say that. This is the Feathers of Wisdom Oracle. This imagery is not necessarily what I wanted. I wanted, a more traditional tarot and oracle style. But in order, at that time, like I'm an artistic person who can't draw to save my life. So I was having to employ a graphic artist to create, and that was going to be like 40 grand to get this done. And I certainly didn't have 40 grand. And so I was just really in that space of what can I do here? Third eye, what energy are you receiving? So I do shadow box art. I haven't done it in a while, but I do shadow box art. And so I just collect, it's kind of like scrapbooking. I collect a bunch of different feathers, a bunch of different, sort of jeweled pieces, and I create this artwork. And I call it shadow box art. And I thought, well, maybe I need to just create some shadow box art and then I can take a picture of it and figure out what to do after. Open, give and take. They are both important. And that's exactly what I did. And the photos came out and they were just like, the photos were great. They were done very professionally. Apply, integrate the spiritual. They were done beautifully, but it wasn't what I was looking for. And I started crying, and I was with my boyfriend at the time, right after the boyfriend I was dating after my marriage broke up. He was such a sweetheart, an engineer. I always seem to attract engineers for some reason. I'm crying, and he's like, well, what do you need? I said, I just need something that goes over it, like a filter that makes it look a little more, cartoonish. And so he's talking to me, and he's super calm, and I'm crying, and he's like, okay, align, I am healed. And he finds me PixArt or PicArt or whatever it's called. And he shows me how to work it. And it gave me exactly what I needed. And then I was like, oh, thank God that I didn't just, invest $5,000 for nothing, right? Like, at least this is good. Follow, inner voice of inspiration. And so heal, I participate in my own healing. So all of the artwork is mine. It's organic. I paid to have it photographed, and then I put filters over the photographs. And these are all the things that now technology regularly does for all of us. But this, if I had any history with a deck, I would say this is it, because this is, I created it, right? It came from me and through me, and it has a story. So I just thought I would share that with you guys. Okay, so our next prompt is the art gallery. Deck with your favorite art style. Okay, deck with my favorite art style. This was really challenging for me because I have a lot of different art styles, and actually the deck that I chose for the next prompt could have very easily fit into this. But I'm going with this one, the Soul Sparkle Tarot. This is actually brand new to me. I've been working with it now for, I think, 3 weeks, maybe a month. I suck at time. And the reason why I'm choosing this is because it's reflective of the type of tarot deck that I'm really drawn to now. I love a deck that has this gilding in it. It has the the gold or the silver throughout the imagery, as well as it being sort of a more cartoony energy, or a sort of a fantastical energy. So this is the Soul Sparkle Tarot. I did a full deck review of this on my channel, so you can definitely check that out if you're interested. And here we even have on the book itself, there's a little bit of gold. And to be honest, I haven't used the book. It is in full color, which is impressive. I think that's fantastic. It comes in a magnetic box. It is a rose petal-ish type finish, matte finish. Very nice cardstock and card quality. It's like one above, I would say, the US Games. So they've really gone above and beyond. And here, if you can see it, there's all of this gold that is reflected. It's like the artistry has been traced in gold. And I think that's just beautiful. So let's take a look here. This is the 10 of Pentacles. And you can see how it just shimmers and shines. I also enjoy the people in this deck, the animals in this deck. I like this artist's interpretation. Here we have the 6 of Wands. Apparently, Mr. Neo now has to give us cat butt in the face. Loving the colors in this deck. The 5 of Wands, it tells a beautiful story. Let's take a look at the Lovers card here. I mean, this is just breathtaking. You've got amazing colors, pop of color. It looks drawn, or penciled or colored. And then you have it etched in this gorgeous gold energy. Like, take a look at the World card. And it is based on the Rider-Waite-Smith. So, that I like that. That's my sort of tarot of choice right now. I'm venturing out, but that's where I'm at right now. And this came with an option to be bordered black and white. Normally I choose black, but there was something about the white imagery that called to me. And so I decided to go with that. And I am not mad at it. And I'm not a big border fan. But I mean, look at this. Look at the Fool card. I mean, it's gorgeous. It's like artwork. Each card is, a piece of art that I want to put on my wall. And that always is a sign for me. That's how I started my shadow box art. Is I was like, these decks, these cards are so beautiful that they need to be six of cups. They need to be displayed more. I want to be able to look at them every day, not just when I, pull them out for guidance. I want to be inspired by them every day. Queen of Cups, Ace of Cups. I mean, just the colors are so rich. This just, it makes me a happy girl. Here's the 10 of Swords, 10 of Cups. So even this, the swords, typically a violent card, not fun, but you don't see blood everywhere. You're getting the message, and you're getting the message loud and clear, but it's not like having to hit you over the head with it. Here's a 2 of Cups, 7 of Swords. Beautiful. Here's the Hermit. Here we have the Tower card. It's just beautiful. Everything about this deck. And even though it's new to me, and I could have picked a couple of other ones that are, I really enjoy the artwork. This is the one hands down for me right now. I know it's, the style is kind of trending right now, but I'm not mad at it. This is the trend that makes me a happy girl. All right, and our next prompt is the Hair Salon, the deck that wants you to be your best self. And then there's a second prompt here that says your most beautiful deck. So I'm going to say the deck that wants me to be myself is the Sacred Rebels Oracle from Alana Fairchild. Again, this has been with me for a really long time. The box is all smashed up, banged up. I mean, this has been across the world and back with me. There was a 2-year window of time where I did not go a day without pulling a card from this particular deck. So it is a Blue Angel. Again, I had mentioned earlier, Alana Fairchild. I highly recommend her decks. Her stuff speaks to me in a lot of ways. So it's a really nice guidebook, just what you would expect from Blue Angel. It's not in color, but they show the black and white of the cards. And it's, of course, it's like a novel. Each of the cards is a novel. And she really goes all out to give you information. It's not a reversed back, and they are shiny because it is kind of, I want to say, older school. I don't know when this came out. Let's take a peek at that. Actually, I'm curious now. That is 2014. So this came out right as I was also coming out of the psychic closet. So I call that a little bit older school before all of the matte decks were coming in, but it's absolutely beautiful. I mean, the imagery is great. Autumn Sky Morrison is the artist. I'm going to see if I can move this where you don't get the sheen. There we go. Bring it into form. So what I love about this deck, it wants me to be my best self because I am a rebel. and I do things differently. I identify as a starseed, and it took me a long time to understand that. I'd never heard the term starseed before, and I just was like, okay, I'm a purple unicorn among white unicorns. I'm just never going to fit in. There's just something off about me that I'm never going to have connections in the way I want to have those connections, releasing allegiances. And I couldn't understand it. And this deck came around, and I was like, well, hot damn. This is singing my song. This is speaking my language, the perfection of your life, free from judgment, free to love. This deck also, I want to say to you, hits me over the head. You know, these messages are not always super pleasant to hear. Some of the cards are really nice, obviously inspiration, nothing wrong about this, but you've got a lot of B's in here. So it shows you like there's work involved in your inspirations. Spirals of manifestation. You know, it's encouraging you. Sometimes you have to go around and around the merry-go-round to get to the point. Here's the cover, Legacy of Light. Shock of the New. I always get this one a lot. I'm like, oh boy, here we go, another big change. This is one of my favorites. Be the hunter, not the hunted. Whenever I get this card, I know that there is going to be some deep shadow work that I got to do. Be the hunter, not the hunted. Faith in the process. Oh, has this card ever seen some heavy, heavy tears, some bad road? And this card has also kind of given me the who to and the what for. You know, when I'm getting ahead of myself or I'm bulldozing, this card comes into the mix. Conscious connections. After the storm. A lot of sacred geometry in this deck. Diving for light. This one I love. You don't think about diving for light. We think light, we look above. Here we're diving for light. Power of attraction. There's one in here that's called Come to Life that really hits me too. Inner trust. Here it is. Listening for truth. Come to life. This one's huge for me. This keeps coming back around. You know, whenever we go through a major phoenix, a major transformation, there is a time when we are feeling dead. We're feeling gray, lifeless. And then there's always a time in that cycle when you come back. You start to come back to life. And I liked that she was painting herself. And the monkey's holding the paint. And it looks like she's painting herself with honey, but it's giving her color. She's breathing color back into her life. What you want wants you. Always love this one. Heaven sent. Receiving. Defend to the end the worthwhile. There's another one in here that is about it's like fish are flying or you're in the water, but it looks like you're in the sky. So it's kind of like you have to do the opposite. Like you are the opposite to whatever is being expected. So yeah, this deck helps me to love myself, to love who I am, to embrace the rebel in me, and to really give me permission to be big, to shine my light. So this is a very happy, happy deck for me. And the one that is my most beautiful deck, gosh, there could be so many that I could put in this, but I'm choosing to do the Tarot of the Sacred Kingdoms. And this is Jen and Flo Magic Tarot, I think is what it is. This was a Kickstarter campaign. It's on sort of a sateen finish, so not quite matte. It does have a little shine, but nothing too crazy. It is reversible. Very nice card quality, much better cardstock than US Games, but the same size as US Games. And then just look at this. So they're not gilded on the side. I would love for it to be gilded on the side with this beautiful coloring. But we have blue and we have that 7 of Cups, and it's bordered, but it's bordered in blue. So it really just, I don't know, it just makes everything like top notch. Really classes things up. So this is the 7 of Cups. And I mean, she's beautiful. There's a softness to the imagery, not a 7 of Cups that you would normally expect. And yet this message speaks to me. Here we have the Page of Cups, that creativity energy with the page. And I love that he's playing the piano. He's lost in his reverie. I think it's absolutely beautiful. 10 of Swords. So, we think of this as complete and utter ruin. This shows the rebirth that is the potential that is happening. Everything about this deck just brings me a lot of joy, a lot of peace and comfort. I get excited when I get to work with this deck. That Queen of Cups, not what you would expect either. She's working with the fireflies. Ooh, the Star. Check this out. So she's letting the fireflies out of the jar. I love this. There's just such a magical, inviting, like I feel invited into a world that maybe isn't my own, but I don't feel like I'm an imposter or a stranger. I feel welcomed by these cards, and these cards speak to me. King of Swords, 3 of Wands. If that's not a card of expansion, I don't know what is. I love the font that they've chosen. It's just a class act from beginning to end. The Moon. I love that you've got, the person with the dog looking off, but then there's another person. There's another person getting ready to go into, the lighthouse, below the lighthouse. 7 of Swords. Someone who's speaking to the masses. That can say a lot. The Hermit. Check out this Hermit card. Oh, just heavenly. We've got the teals in the back, even the way the light is hitting the people, the artwork. Look at this Temperance card. Just breathtaking. So when I work with this deck, I fall into the imagery. I fall into the cards. The Devil, even the Devil card is beautiful. So again, it's like that artwork that I can just stare at for days and days and days. Queen of Wands. Loving this Queen of Wands. Here she's holding the cat in her arms. I think that's great. We often see the cat, sitting next to the throne. This implies a deeper relationship, a bond between she and her familial, because that's the only help that she often gets. She does a lot of things by herself. 4 of Pentacles. So that card of greed, also protection, scarcity. I mean, everything is gold here. But there's also this implication that maybe there's an opportunity for him to receive some enlightenment around here. Will he choose the enlightenment, or will he choose the material? Here's a 9 of Swords. This is a really interesting depiction of the 9 of Swords. And here we have the Hierophant. I love the colors here. And it's a woman. They're showing a woman sitting on her throne. She has a lot of wisdom and knowledge to offer. So I definitely have to say that this right now is by far my most beautiful deck. And I have a lot of beautiful decks. So that's saying something. Okay, our final prompt is we are at the toy shop. The deck I like to play with. This was tough because I like to play with a lot of different decks, and I was going to kind of show you my my Crystal Visions deck, but I've shown that before, and I love to play with that, but I also love to play with others with that deck. So that's the deck that I keep in my purse. Wherever I go, I'm using that deck. So I thought, well, what's the one that I personally like to play with? And that is Kim Kranz is Wild Unknown Alchemy. And I believe in the community, there's kind of like a love and a hate thing going on about some of her stuff. I agree that the shape of some of the cards that she has created are not, I want to say, the most ideal to shuffle with and work with. They're kind of a pain in the ass that way. But I mean, the material in this is, bar none. Like you can't knock it. So of course, this is a magnetic book. We have From Lead to Gold, The Secret Sealed, Patience, More Will Be Revealed. We have a beautiful guidebook, and I definitely use the guidebook. I know there are quite a few readers out there who use this and they read it intuitively, or they've just worked with it so much that they have it memorized. I'm not that girl. I definitely like to work with the book because I find that it just enriches the the experience. So this one happens to be that, I think it's a hexagon or a pentagon or whatever it is, six-sided. Whatever six-sided is, hexagon. And we're going to pull these bad boys out. And here's the thing with these. This deck, this is not a deck for the faint of heart. This is not a deck if you want something sugar-coated or you really don't want to know the truth. I mean, we've all been there. There are days when you're going through something tough and you're just like, you know what? Like, I know kind of what the truth is, but I really I just don't want to know. Like, give me some good news. Give me something positive. And everything else in my life right now is not that. So you're going to have to dig deep. Well, I would not choose this deck. This is a deck when I say, okay, I got some major shit going on. I had the wackiest dream. I can tell that I'm in an up-leveling moment. I just had a fight with someone. I never get into a fight. What is happening? What is going on? This is the deck that I go to for that. So let's just kind of take a look. First of all, really cool cardstock. I love the shape. Yes, I don't like the way it shuffles. I'm going to admit to that. But who cares? You know, this is one of those decks that it's so unique. It is so special. It needs to be its own, like in a class of its own. I love the back. You've got this beautiful sort of blue rose or smoke swirl that's happening. And here you have the imagery, speculum, glass, right? I love the Latin. We do a lot of the Latin in here. Here we have sulfurous, sulfur. Gosh, like even just looking at that card, my nose goes, ooh, plug your nose. Don't breathe in. Don't breathe in. Smoke, fumus, not fumus. Magnum opus, the great work. Look at those beautiful flowers. And I mean, I could read these intuitively, absolutely, and get something from them, for sure. I just choose not to work with them in that way. Splendor solis, sun's splendor. Loving that we've got the diamonds reflecting different colors. You've got the sunrise or the sunset, depending on how you're looking at it. And it's all black and white through the rest of it. So all of those colors really, really stand out. Here we have plumbum, lead. So yeah, I say play with. Maybe play with is like oh, sorry, I'm showing you these, but I'm not showing you the full picture. I'm so sorry about that. So play with might be a bit strong of a word. Like this is like a dissection, but this is also a deck that, like I said, I don't work with this deck without the book. So I don't pull this deck out unless I've got some serious time to devote to my questions. And that's how I enjoy engaging with a deck. It's a meaty deck. It's going to give me something serious to chew on. And that to me is playing with my deck. I can play with a deck with other people, like I said, and those are the decks that I use that are lighter and bolder colors and fun and fancy free. Here's Luna, the moon. You know, that's just a different energy. This is like play for me. How do I accelerate? Veneris, Venus. This is definitely an ascension deck. Neptunus, Neptune. Leucosis, lightning. I love that it's a snake, and I'm not a snake fan, but here we are. I seem to be pulling a lot of snake cards in these reviews, and it's ironic. I think the universe is trying to tell me it's time to get over my irrational fear of them. Argentum vivum, quicksilver. Aestus, summer. Unus mundus, synchronicity. Loving this. So yes, this is definitely a deck that I enjoy playing with. I enjoy getting into the energy of it. And it always has something really powerful to say to me. And so then I can apply it. And that's play too, you know, in life when we are, when we're manifesting, we're having these experiences. And sometimes we don't always appreciate the experiences that we're having because they're uncomfortable or, they cause us to grow or whatever the case may be. But at the end of the day, from a soul perspective, this is what we're here for. The soul doesn't judge the experience as good or bad. The soul just says, yeah, we're learning something from this experience. The experience is the point. That's what this book really does for me. All right, guys. So that is our Let's Go Shopping VR tag. I really enjoyed putting this together and sharing this with you guys. I hope you have enjoyed it as well. Please feel free to share in the comments, or maybe do one of these videos of your own and tag me at the Black Feather Intuitive. I would love to see some of your decks out there. And for those of you who are maybe sort of new to this, if you want, if you like any of the decks that you've seen and you want to know where to get them from, please feel free to reach out to me. I'm happy to share that information with you. I get my decks from all sorts of places, and I usually remember where I got it from. I'm pretty good from that perspective with memory, so would love to help you guys out. All right, until we see you for another Divinely Decked, take care, guys. Have the most amazing one, and we will see you on the flip side. Transform well. That's our show for today. I hope you enjoyed it. It was great to connect with you guys. Please like, subscribe, and comment for more content like this. And feel free to follow me on Blue Sky for even more content every single day. Can't wait to see you guys next week for another installment of Black Feather Couture, Divining the VIP Life.